Roy, how's it going?
Good. How's everybody? And you? How are you?
I'm doing fine. I don't know how everyone is, but I'm okay. Hope you're good too. We'll get going right at 6:30, everybody. We got an action-packed meeting as usual. We're going to try to move through the agenda as quickly as possible. I am going to have to take a few things out of order due to, I think there's going to be some robust conversation, potentially in questions relating to the Roderick School Building Committee update, which we love. We know there's a lot of work been going into that project. So I just ask everyone to bear with us as we move through the agenda. Selectman Anderson, how you doing?
I don't know yet.
You look good from this perspective.
Can you see me?
I mean, it's
Barely.
it's slightly dark and you're moving around like you're at a dance club, but other than that,
Okay.
you're
All right,
looking
as long as you can see me.
handsome as always.
I've got having a hard time getting a split view on this.
Okay, well, listen, Jim, you're my main tech savant. So if you're having tech issues, I don't know, the rest of us are in deep trouble.
Well, so I can either do one or the other. I can do Zoom or I can do the packet.
Okay.
So when I do the packet, can you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can still see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I guess so.
All right. Let's see if you need us to pause, we can pause.
Okay.
All right. Time's now 6:30, and we're going to get going in accordance with Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, the Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, 6:30 p.m. public meeting of the Wrentham Select Board shall be conducted remotely. The public is invited to join in via Zoom. The dial-in and password information was on our town's website. As a preliminary matter, this is Select Board Chair Chris Gallo. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. We'll start with Selectman Jim Anderson.
Anderson here.
Bill Harrington,
In here.
Michelle Rouse,
Present.
Roy Lamoth.
Lamoth here.
Wonderful. Staff, when I call your name, please respond to the affirmative. Town Manager Mike King. Assistant Town Manager Greg Enos.
Affirmative.
Executive Assistant Amanda Vazzapolo.
Present.
Okay. Mike and Bill, two quick things. I think there's a 2-second delay when you guys talk. Just keep that in mind. And then the other thing is, looks like we have a very full audience. I'll ask anyone that's not in direct conversation at the time, please remain on mute, just so that we can minimize outward noise or background noise. Okay. So now that the meeting is called to order, we're going to jump right in. As I said, we have an action-packed agenda. We're going to go to tab 1, which is our announcements. I'm going to ask our clerk, Selectman Bill Harrington, to read the announcements.
Yep, Mr. Chair. So the announcements for this evening's meeting: during the winter, town plow trucks occasionally damage mailboxes while clearing the streets of snow and ice. While town crews do their best to avoid hitting mailboxes, sometimes a mailbox can be struck by accident. If a town or town contracted plow truck damages a mailbox through direct contact and evidence shows that the actual plow blade hit the mailbox, reimbursement may be made to the owner of the mailbox. To file a claim, navigate to the Wrentham OpenGov online permitting portal by visiting our website and selecting permitting on the homepage. Candidates Forum moderator Mike McKnight will be visiting the Senior Center on Tuesday, February 10th at 1:30 to hear directly from the seniors and gather questions for the town's upcoming Candidates Forum, which is scheduled for Thursday, March 5th at 7 p.m. at the Fisk Library. Questions for the Candidates Forum may be submitted by February 25th via the town's website or by emailing candidatesforum@wrentham.gov. Nomination papers for the April 7th, 2026 annual town election may be obtained through February 11th, 2026 with the town clerk's office. The town offers a variety of ways to stay connected and up to date on happenings in Wrentham. See the town website for ways to subscribe and receive text messages or email notifications. So 2 more announcements. Calling all strong, brave, and kind people to take the plunge or sponsor one of these courageous plunges. Saturday, March 21st from 9 to 11, Lake Pearl, Wrentham. The event sponsored by the Wrentham, Norfolk, and Plainville Lions to benefit eye research from Mass Lions Eye Research Foundation. Registration or sponsor at www.norfolkmasslions.org/polar plunge. And I look forward to seeing all our select board members taking that plunge, including Selectman Anderson.
What's the date on that again?
The date on that, so you can plan a trip away, is March 21st.
Yeah, I'm away that weekend.
So finally, the Wrentham Lions Club announces its 2026 scholarship applications are now available. The Wrentham Lions Club is pleased to announce that it will be offering 4 scholarships to area graduating seniors, including 1 scholarship that will also be available for qualified adult residents seeking to continue their education. Applications are available now and will be accepted until March 10th, 2026. Scholarship criteria, applications, and directions for submittal can be found on the Wrentham Lions website at www.wrenthamlions.org. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent job. And just a quick comment, Selectman Innocent, not only are you not away that weekend, the chair would entertain a non-binding motion to make you the captain and official plunger for the Wrentham Select Board.
Second.
Okay, we have and if you're wondering why I'm fooling around, we have a minute before I can start the public hearing. So let's go to the approval of the minutes really quickly. That's tab 2. At this time, chair would entertain. So in our packets, we have the January 20, 2026 open session meeting minutes, as well as the January 20th, 2026 executive session meeting minutes. So chair would entertain a motion to approve the January 20th, 2026 open session and executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
So moved.
Motion made by Plunger, Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Lamoth?
Moth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now we can go right to the public hearing, seeing as though it's 6:35. We have a public hearing. This is a vote to accept the gift of Red Bird Farm Conservation Land. In our packet, just so the audience knows, in our packets, the select board has our paperwork, certificate of vote, public hearing notice, letter from Conservation Commission regarding the donation evaluation of Red Bird Farm, donation of 70 acres of open space from Darrell Luce, map of proposed donation area. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the gift acceptance of Red Bird Farm Conservation Land.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectwoman Rouse, second by Selectman Anderson. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington? Say that, yeah, you gotta unmute. Can you get it?
Yes.
Okay. Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Now the chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of the public hearing notice.
So moved.
Second, motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson? Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Thank you. Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Mike, who do we have with us that's going to just give us a quick summary of that? Are you going to take the lead with that, Mike?
So we have with us this morning, Attorney Meltzer and Jerry LaRusso, who are the developers who are proposing to donate this to the town.
I'll ask Attorney Meltzer and or Jerry LaRusso. Just give the board and the townspeople viewing just a quick summary of what we're trying to accomplish here this evening, and why would a developer ever want to give the town 70 acres? I think people, just curious if they're not familiar with the situation. Attorney Meltzer.
Good evening, Stephen Meltzer. So yes, out of the goodness of our hearts, to answer that question. So as part of the process of obtaining approvals for development of the adjacent land, and in the course of doing our due diligence, there was a discovery of the marbled salamander habitat, and then a subsequent mapping of the area as a priority habitat for the marbled salamander by the Natural Heritage Division of Mass Wildlife. As a result of that, we had to obtain a conservation management permit. And as a result of the discussion and negotiations so that we could move forward with our development, out of about 111 acres total, we have divided off 72.911 acres, which would become part of a permanently conserved land. We had the opportunity to then figure out who would own that land or get a conservation restriction. And the choices basically were the state, a third-party nonprofit, or the town through its conservation commission. Our preference always was keeping it local and working with the Conservation Commission we have on this project and on many others, had a great relationship with them. And think that local control is probably the best bet for many reasons, some I won't go into. And as a result, we have divided off this land and wish to donate it to be permanently preserved and under the stewardship of the Conservation Commission to the town of Wrentham. This went before the Conservation Commission. They approved of it, I believe, without any reservations, and Darrell can speak to that. We've gone through the process of drafting deeds and going through review with town council, and I think town council is here tonight in case there's questions with respect to that. and they'll make sure that whatever we transfer will provide good title to the town. And with that, I don't want to belabor the point. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or Jerry can answer them.
Yeah, I have just a couple points of clarification. Do you mind just explaining to the residents what kind of development you guys are doing here?
Sure.
How many units is there? So I think there's some over 55. There's an over 55 component, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Yep. So on the south side, so there's basically 3 distinct parcels as in my interpretation. South of Beach Street and west of Taunton Street will be an over 55 development of 66 detached units, each of them around 2,000 square feet. On the north side of Beach Street, also the west side of Taunton Street, is a subdivision road which will contain 11 new or newly constructed houses, single-family houses. And then on the east side of Taunton Street, there's a 28, almost 29 acre parcel that has a house on it at 521 Taunton Street. That entire parcel will be conservation land. The north portion, where the subdivision is about 7.5 acres, is cut off to become conservation land. And on the south side, where the over 55 is, there's 36.677 acres that's part of this conservation land.
Great. Thank you for that summary. Mr. King, Town Manager King, I know in our packets we have a letter from Conservation Chair, Mr. Immonen, as well as multi-page letter from Darrell Luce, Conservation Agent. To what detail do we need to go into on those? Does someone want to give a quick summary, or do we just want to note that they're in the packet and the board has had an opportunity to review?
So you have the opportunity to ask. I see Darrell's on the call, and I believe the Conservation Commission Chair as well. If they want to provide any input at this time, but there'll also be an opportunity during public comment. So,
yeah, why don't we just do that then? We can ask them to provide any input they'd like to give us, high level input at public comment. I definitely want to hear from Darrell, and I'd love to hear from Mr. Immonen as well if he wants to share, if he's on the call. So that's fantastic. Before we get into the public comment portion of this, I will go to my board and see if any of the board members have any questions for Attorney Meltzer and or Jerry LaRusso, the developer, and then we'll open it up to public comment. So we'll start with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Between this information and prior presentations regarding the subject, I have no further questions.
Great. We have, and just so the people watching know, we have, pretty extensively gone over this topic. We've received input from our town council, obviously our conservation chair, and our agent as well. So this is not the first time we're looking at this material, but I want to give everyone an opportunity. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. LaRusso for his generous donation. I'm sure that finding that salamander was not really in his plans for the development. I appreciate our attorneys going through it and the Conservation Commission accepting this gift gracefully from Mr. LaRusso.
Great. Very well said. Selectman Lamothe.
No further questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. Mr. LaRusso, do you want to address the group at all before I open it up for public comment? Jerry, you're on mute.
Jimmy, can you help him?
I would, but I'm having my own problems tonight.
I don't know if it's an iPad, Jerry. If it's an iPad at the bottom left, there'll be an audio button.
Okay, here we are.
Okay.
You know, in Wrentham, we're lucky. We have a lot of conservation land, open space, Hopefully all you guys have used it. I mean, I certainly have. And this property is adjacent to both, I think, state and local conservation and open space. So I think it's a great benefit. I guess the only suggestion would be, as you're walking along, watch out for the salamanders.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Thanks, Mr. LaRusso. I will ask Daryl Luce. Daryl, do you want to address the board and the townspeople before I open it up to the rest of the public comment?
Sure. Yes. The donation will also provide easy access to the state forest from both the existing residents and future residents of the subdivision. Not only to the state forest, but also even into Trout Pond a little bit. It'll take some finagling, but they should get there. Also, too, both of the conservation parcels, the 70 acres, will help preserve a lot of the drinking water quality in that basin that basically goes over to Lake Pearl. So it's a win on both counts.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Luce. Mr. Eminem from the Conservation Commission, do you want to address the board or the townspeople? Okay. Oh, there he is.
No, I think it's a great opportunity for the town to go ahead and preserve conservation land, and I gave all my reasons in the letter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, let's open it up to public comment. If we have any residents that would like to give a public comment, we ask that you raise your hand. We'll call on you one at a time, and I believe a clock counter will pop up and it will notify you when your time's up. So would anyone like to give public comment? I'll give a few seconds here just in case anyone's trying to figure out the mute button. Okay, seeing as though there's no public comment, Chair would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for the gift acceptance of Redburn Farm Conservation Land.
So moved.
Second.
Second, motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, so my motion is, Mike, where is the actual motion?
It's the certificate of vote on the next page of your packet.
Do I have to read all that?
Either you or the clerk.
Bill, Mr. Clerk, you're earning your money tonight. I'll ask Selectman Harrington, our clerk, to read the motion into the record.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So motion, I move to approve the donation of property to the town of Wrentham Conservation Commission from Hawthorne Brook LLC and Salvatore Circle LLC containing 72.911 acres shown as open space parcel 1, open space parcel 2, and open space parcels 3A, 3B, and 3C as shown on those plans of land entitled Approval Not Required Plan of Land 584 Taunton Street, Wrentham, Mass, dated October 2nd, 2025. Approval Not Required Plan of Land 516 Taunton Street, Wrentham, Mass, dated October 2nd, 2025. And Approval Not Required Plan of Land 521 Taunton Street, Wrentham, Mass, dated October 2nd, 2025. Prepared by Feldman Geospatial, which land shall be dedicated to public for the sole purpose of conservation of natural resources and passive recreation pursuant to Chapter 184 of the general laws of the Commonwealth, including the purpose of, but not limited to, the conservation of species listed pursuant to General Law, Chapter 131A at sequence, which shall be considered the most important conservation purpose for which the land is to be protected in perpetuity, held under the care and custody of the Wrentham Conservation Commission pursuant to General Law, Chapter 408, 40, Section 8C, and under Article 97 of the amendments to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Any proposed use, including but not limited to the passive recreational development, trails, vegetation, or soil alteration, must be approved by the Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife pursuant to their authorities under General Law, Chapter 131A at SEEK. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I couldn't really hear you. Can you read that again? I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Anderson?
Innocent, yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Attorney Meltzer. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
LaRusso. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night, everybody.
Good luck with the project.
Thanks.
Okay, as I said before, we're going to take things a little bit out of order due to some, I think there's going to be a lot of conservation. We have a lot of conservation, a lot of conversation. So let's go to tab number 5, if that's okay. So at tab number 5 is a vote to, we're going to do some appointments and some resignations at this time. So tab number 5 is a vote to accept the resignation with regrets of Sean Go from the Zoning Board of Appeals. In our packet, we have a letter of resignation from Sean Go of the ZBA. Selectman Harrington, that's on page 35 of the packet. Do you mind just reading that into the record?
Mr. Chair, Darian, I'm writing to let you know that I'm resigning effective immediately from the Wrentham Zoning Board. I've been fortunate to have served on the board for nearly 20 years. It has been rewarding experience to work with so many dedicated people who share a common interest in preserving the character of our town of Wrentham. I truly appreciate the opportunity to have been part of this work and have served the community. If you have any questions, to be sure, contact me, and please pass along my thanks to the other board members and town staff. Best regards, Sean Go, and his phone number.
Okay, so I'd like to thank Mr. Go for his service to the town. And at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to accept with regrets the resignation of Sean Go from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
With regrets, yes.
Anderson?
With regrets, yes.
Harrington?
Yes.
Lamoth?
With regrets, yes.
Gallo with regrets, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Now we're going to go to tab 6, where we have an appointment of James Lawrence from associate to full member to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Documentation in the packet. We have Mr. Lawrence's application, I believe, as well as a recommendation letter. And this appointment will fill the vacancy of Bill Burns, and will assume the remainder of his term. And in the Mike, do you want us to read this letter into the record as well?
So it is not necessary for the recommendation letters to be read. You can note them. It's just resignation letters that are required to be read at the meeting.
Okay, so we'll note the letter of support in the packet. And at this time, just so the board knows, I think everyone knows Mr. Lawrence, former member of the planning board, longtime Wrentham resident. I will give the opportunity select board members to ask any questions, comments. Sir, do you mind muting? Amanda, can you mute that? Thank you. I'll open it up to the board members to ask any questions or make any comments to Mr. Lawrence, and we'll start with Selectwoman Rouse.
I have no questions after reviewing, Jim's application and knowing him from his experience on planning board and appreciating Bill's recommendation as the chair of the board. So no further questions.
Great. Selectman Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm very confident that Jim will do a fine job. So no further questions.
Excellent. Selectman Harrington?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So welcome back to the board, Jim. Look forward to working with you again. Appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Great. Selectman Lamoth?
Jim, you're getting off easy. No questions and welcome back. Thank you.
Yeah, Jim, like we said, appreciate the service. Great to see you back in a serving role in the community. Thank you for many years on the planning board, and it's great to have you back again. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint James Lawrence as full member of the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations. And with all the appointments, don't forget to see our town clerk, Ann Fisk, so you can get sworn in before your next meeting. All right? Okay.
Thank
With that
you,
being-
Select Board.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. With that being said, let's now go to tab 7. Okay, so tab 7 is an interview and appointment of Rachel Hill to the Zoning Board of Appeals. In our documentation, we have the ZBA volunteer application. We have a letter of recommendation from the chairman, Bill Burns. And this appointment will fill the vacancy of Jim Lawrence and will assume the remainder of his term. So we have, as I said, the application in our packet. We have the recommendation letter. I'm going to open it up to the board members to see if there's any questions or comments that need to be asked or answered, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
No further questions.
Great. Selectman Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, no further questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Selectman Harrington.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Lamoth.
No questions. Thank you.
Rachel, we just want to say thank you for your willingness to help out. Really appreciate that. And at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Rachel Hill to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an associate member for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectwoman Rouse. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Rachel.
Thank
Please
you.
go see Town Clerk Ann Fisk and get sworn in before the next meeting. And thank you so much again for volunteering. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Okay. Next up on the agenda, we're going at a great clip here. We have another, hold on. We have another interview and appointment. Oh, this person's a real problem.
Yeah.
Interview and appointment of John McAllister to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Some of you might recognize Mr. McAllister if you've ever been driving around town and seen him in his usually very, handsy, spiffy looking uniform that he usually wears. With us, we have John McAllister. And listen, board, feel free to beat this guy up a little bit. And we have his application. We have a letter of recommendation from Chairman Bill Burns. And we're going to open it up for questions or comments from the board members, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
No questions at this time. And then just, John, thank you for your service on the police force.
Thank you, Selectwoman Rouse. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, no, I think John will do a great job. Local guy, so I'm good.
Excellent. Selectman Harrington.
I agree with Selectman Anderson. I think he'll do a fine job. I look forward to working with him.
Excellent. Thank you. Selectman Lamoth.
John, I was in a meeting, not necessarily a meeting, just a little circle of people where you was talking about getting involved, and I'm glad you have decided to do that. I look forward to your tenure here in this new position. Good luck.
As for Chris Gallo, I'm too nervous that he's going to give me a speeding ticket to say anything bad about him. So no, I'm just kidding. I know John pretty well. He's a great guy, great member of the community, a solid professional in everything he does. Lucky to have him on the police force and lucky to have him in this role as well. So John, thank you for your service and thank you for this. So at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint John McAllister to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an associate member for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Rouse, yes.
Anderson?
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington?
Harrington, yes.
Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. John, congratulations. please go see our town clerk and get sworn in before your meeting. Have a great night.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, next is tab number 9. And we have interview and appointment of Sean Barry to the Zoning Board of Appeals. In our documentation, we have Sean's ZBA volunteer application, and as well as a letter of recommendation from Chairman Bill Burns. I know that the board's had enough time to go through the application and see the letter of recommendation, but I want to afford the privilege for all of us to ask any questions or comments of Mr. Barry, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
After reviewing the application and again, the recommendation, no further questions at this time.
Great. Selectman Anderson.
I concur, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm reading through his background. I think he'll do a wonderful job. I look forward to it.
Excellent. Selectman Lamoth.
Sean, I noticed that you said you're not a stranger to the town process. I was just wondering if you had any changes that you would want to influence just walking into this role.
That's a good question. I think maybe having the engineering background, maybe doing my best to I guess teach others and be collaborative with others who don't come from that background but may have more experience than me in other realms. So I think maybe try and help teach people like an engineering point of view. I could only hope to do that. So
Well, it's great to see a young face in the picture here. So this is good. Another generation involved. Thank you.
yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate it.
Excellent. And not that Selectman Lamoth was indicating that the other people were old. He just was notifying
Talking to myself.
yeah, just trying to PR protect you, Selectman Lamoth. Yeah, Sean, for myself, it's great to have you on. Your resume is impressive. Yeah, I think you're going to be an asset. And again, we love when anyone volunteers in the community. So welcome aboard. We appreciate you putting yourself out there, and we wish you nothing but success. Let us know how the board can help you. And at this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Sean Barry to the Zoning Board of Appeals as an associate member for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Is there okay? Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Lamoth. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamont, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Hey, Mike King, just something that just occurred to me. Are those dates right? June 30th, 2026?
All three of the associate memberships need to be staggered. So you have a 28, 27, and 26.
Okay, so they are correct.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm sure they were, but I just want to make sure for the record. All right, so the motion stands as voted on. Congratulations, Sean. Please see Ann Fisk and get sworn in before your next meeting.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's keep it moving. Let's go to tab number 10. We have a wonderful resident, friend of the select board here, for an interview and appointment of Barbara Gilmeister to the Commission on Disability. We have Barbara's in our packet. We had Barbara's volunteer application, as well as a letter of recommendation from Chair Mary Dobick. Barbara's application is right there. It speaks for itself. Seems very, very, very specialized in this field. A lot of relevant experience. So as with everyone else, let's open it up to the board members for any quick comments or questions for Mrs. Gilmeister, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Just to echo your sentiments, wonderful experience and Mary's recommendation. No further questions at this time.
Excellent. Selectman Anderson.
I concur, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Harrington.
Absolutely, I concur.
Great. Selectman Lamoth.
Barbara, we appreciate everything you do, and what I learned from that application about your teaching with the blind just blew me away. So no questions.
Agreed. Very well, good sentiments. Being a fellow Lion as well as Selectman Harrington plays an extra special role, part in our hearts for the the relationship to the blind. So Barbara, we appreciate you. You do a lot of great work at Gilly's house. And clearly you do a lot of great work in your 9-to-5 job. And now clearly you're going to do even more great work with this as well. So appreciate having you in the community. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Barbara Gilmeister to the Commission on Disability for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse?
Yes.
Selectman Anderson?
Anderson's yes.
Selectman Harrington?
And yes.
Selectman Lamoth?
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Barbara, same goes for you. Please go see Ann Fisk and get sworn in before the next meeting. Have a wonderful evening. Okay. At this time, we're going to go to tab 11. I believe this is our last appointment of the evening. So great job, everybody. Interview and appointment of Joseph Abely. I think I said that right. And if I didn't,
you
I
did.
apologize.
You did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Abely, to the Commission on Disability. In our packet, we have volunteer application for Mr. Abely, letter of recommendation from the chair, Murray Dobuk. And as we have done with everyone else, we're going to give the board an opportunity to, and this resume as well is very impressive. There's a lot of very relevant experience here. So we're very lucky to have this many people with this kind of experience for these positions. So thank you so much for putting yourselves out there. But at this time, I'm going to open it up to the rest of the board, starting with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess, I think this is our last appointment, and just to say how blessed we are to have all these individuals to come forth with such great experience. No further questions at this time.
Amen to that. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, very impressive application. So no further questions.
Great. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, I mimic the previous two select board members. Excellent resume. Look forward to having you on the board.
Excellent. Selectman Lamoth.
Joe, the credentials are superior. No questions.
Excellent. And I agree. So at this time, Chair would make a motion to enter. Sorry about that. Chair would entertain a motion to appoint Joseph Abely to the Commission on Disability for a term effective immediately and expiring on June 30th, 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse.
Yes.
Selectman Anderson.
Anderson's yes.
Selectman Harrington.
Harrington, yes.
Selectman Lamoth.
Lamoth, yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, Mike, real quick, I know we're moving out of order here. If we take a quick peek at tab number 12, the strategic plan, this is another piece of information that this board has really looked at this point exhaustively. Is that a word? If it isn't, I just made it up. But we've looked at this pretty carefully, spent a ton of time on this. At the last meeting, it was just so the people know we're not rushing through this, because when you see strategic plan for the town of Wrentham, you think that's very important, and it is. But at the last meeting, we summarized all the working group sessions that the select board has had to get to the point that we were. We had, what was the gentleman's name, Mike?
Bill Keegan.
Yeah, Bill Keegan come on, present to us, did a fantastic job. We then had another opportunity to take our questions and comments and send them back to myself and Mike King. And we took those comments, reworked them as needed to come up with this final plan that we have tonight in front of us for adoption. Mike, do you have anything to add before I ask for a vote? And do you have any issues with me asking for a motion to adopt at this point?
I do not, Mr. Chair. And I'll just reiterate that the select board does have before it this evening a strategic plan with goals and priorities to guide the town for the next several years. It is the culmination of several months long strategic planning process, which was facilitated by Bill Keegan of Capital Strategic Solutions, which included meetings with department heads and multiple select board workshops.
Yes, very well said. Great summary. And I want to thank Bill and his team. Thank all the. I want to thank Mike King for all the hard work that he did with this. All the department heads, the staff members, and my fellow select board members. We went. I just really I don't want to tout us and pat us on the back and say that we spent a lot of time on this, but we did. You did a great job, and I think the town's in a better position because of it. So at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to adopt the strategic plan for the town of Wrentham as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by Selectman Harrington. Any further discussion? Being none, we'll do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Selectman Harrington,
Yeah.
Selectman Lamoth,
Yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Great job, everybody. Okay, let's go back up to tab 4. This is the agenda item that I thought might take a little bit more time and potentially some robust dialogue. So now we're going to talk about the Roderick School Committee Building Committee update. With us, we have Phil Jordan. We also have he's the school committee chair as well as the Roderick School Building Committee chair. We have Dr. Alan Cameron, who's the superintendent of Wrentham Public Schools. From Vertex, we have Jeff D'Amico. I'm sorry if I screwed that up. Emily Sarazin and Eric Rubin. And then we have TKSP. I don't know what that is, but you can tell me. And we have Jess Saylor, I believe. So welcome, Jesse. Is it Jesse? Yes. Sorry about that, Jesse.
No problem.
I apologize.
No problem.
So I'd like to welcome, first of all, Mr. Jordan. It's always good to see you. Our good friend, Dr. Cameron. It's always good to see you, sir. Phil, you wanted to come on this evening and give the board an update on the building committee project for the school. I'm going to turn it over to you and your team for a high-level update, and then we can open it up for some conversation with the board members.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you well. Thanks for being here.
Terrific. Thank you for having us. So we're going to give a brief overview today and answer some questions because we're going to be back here in 2 weeks with an update on the board's actions with a request for an endorsement from you. So we want to make sure that we get your feedback now on some key questions. I'm going to just give about a 2-minute overview. I'm going to ask Dr. Cameron to do a couple of minutes as well on some of the needs as he sees them. And then our designers and project managers will walk through a brief presentation, and then we'll have some time for questions. So I really just wanted to cover two aspects today around sort of why we're here. The first is that there are several decisions that we'll have to make in terms of what gets included or does not get included in the project that the team will be walking through. Some of these are fairly easy for the committee to address. For example, we can save a couple $100,000 by shrinking a wall by a foot or having some screening somewhere. We understand the assignment there. There are other things that are a bit more complicated. As you know, through time, we've come to talk to you about the athletic fields and other challenges that we're trying to navigate. And we do have one particular topic that we'll be discussing in more detail, which is the potential to add a traffic signal on South Street and Randall Road. And we want to really talk to you about the priorities of the town about including or not including that in the project. But I did want to give just a brief overview about how we make our decisions as a committee so that we're ensuring that we have sort of full transparency and that this board is comfortable with how we are handling our business and coming to our decisions. So whenever we are presented with a question about something that costs money that we have to decide upon, the first question that we ask is whether the spending is in fact required, right? So is there something that the state requires either through the school building authority or through the education department or local building codes, right? Are our hands tied on this or is this something that we actually have some discretion over? Assuming that the answer is that we have discretion over it, then we then ask two questions. We ask, how are other communities like ours handling these types of things and why? What are their justifications? who's done it, who hasn't, what has been the repercussion of either doing the thing or not doing the thing. And then finally, we have the question that we ask ourselves, which is whether that cost is justified. So generally speaking, if it's something that adds to the durability, will reduce future maintenance costs, will last longer, increase our reimbursements, or provide some necessary service that we have to provide, we've generally sort of worked through those to come with those, where we've prioritized those types of things that provide a solid return on investment. If it's something that's sort of purely aesthetic in nature or a luxury item, we fairly quickly dispatch those. So we have already identified, I think it's fair to say, more than $10 million in cost reductions without materially impacting the durability of our building or the utility of the building. And we're focused really on driving up the reimbursement rates from the state for both MSBA and the energy rebates. And we're going to go through all these numbers, but we're already at a number now where we are, I think, about 10% below the average cost per square foot of similar school buildings that are going up in the area currently. So we've got a lot of information on this, but we've been very intentional about being stewards of the potential taxpayer dollars for the ask, and being very, very careful about how we're going through our process to make sure that we're optimizing the value of anything that costs money. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Cameron for a brief overview, and then we'll turn it over to Jesse at TSKP.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing us the opportunity to be here today. First of all, I should tell you that at the start of the meeting, I signed on for the polar plunge, so I'll be there. Let's hope for a not too cold of a day. So this project really addresses the infrastructure needs we have with two buildings, the Vogel School built in 1935 and Roderick School built in 1968, and then added on in 1988. Really starting around 2015-16, we started to realize we needed a plan for how to address both of these buildings. They're old. They have systems that are near the end of their life. They've been great buildings for the town for a long time, but we needed to find some kind of a way to address some major issues with them. Broadly speaking, they can be separated into three categories: issues related to education, operations, and security. Educationally, there are many problems. The classrooms are too small. We don't have extended learning spaces. We are utilizing non-educational spaces for some roles like small group meeting rooms or offices. So we have we can't use the gym because it's also the cafeteria. Lots of issues related to education. Operationally, lots of the systems have problems: HVAC, electrical, fire suppression. They have no loading dock at the buildings, no storage for custodial supplies. And then security. At Roderick in particular, we've got many direct access doors, wooden doors that are in the classrooms that lead directly outside, and single pane glass windows. The town has been very generous and cooperative with us in improving the buildings, but we knew that this was going to be a significant cost. So in 2022, we applied to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, and we were accepted into their program to collaborate with them on a long-term solution. Since then, we've been working with Vertex, the project manager, and TKSP, the architect, to take a look at the existing conditions and develop a plan for how to make a generational change in Wrentham. And we've done a lot of work, and it's exciting. And I will pass on the torch to them to give you some of those details.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent Cameron. I'm going to jump right in here. Bear with me as I pull up the slide. Okay. Hopefully you're all able to see the site plan. The new Roderick building is located to the south of the existing building, which you can see in red dashed lines in the site plan. It's located on the current playground and the Gilpatrick ball field. This plan is a significant improvement in site safety. The building acts as a buffer between the vehicular areas and the play areas further to the south. The playscapes are now protected from vehicular traffic and remain visible to the ball field, so parents can keep an eye on siblings who are on the on the playground while they're watching a ball game. Also, this plan creates a safe pedestrian area between the Delaney and Roderick schools by limiting traffic in that space to just school buses and service vehicles and taking out the unmanaged cars. You see the building footprint is compact, which is also cost efficient. It's only 18% larger than the existing footprint, despite providing nearly twice the usable area. And that's because it's got a second story. You also see that there's 80 parking spaces provided to the north of the school, which represents a net increase of 40 spaces in this area, which makes sense because we're moving the third grade from the Delaney School to the Roderick School as part of this project. So we need to have some more parking in this area. Lastly, you see to the south of the building is a geothermal field, and that's because the building is served by all electric mechanical systems, which utilize ground source heat pumps fed from the heat of the earth to lower the energy usage for the building. Looking at the first floor, you can see that the first floor is organized around a central daylit commons or corridor, which runs from the building entrance on the north side to arrive at the south side at the playground space, which we really like, that it emphasizes the importance of active play in the program of an elementary school. The Commons is a corridor that encourages social interaction between students, family, and faculty. We envision it as a forum for the Wrentham community to see what is going on in the school through a combination of the display of student work, through digital signage, through glimpses into some of the more public programs such as the gym and cafeteria. The Roderick also has a vibrant instrumental music program, which you see in the upper left of the floor plan, with an 80-member band. So the music rooms are located near the entrance plaza where the community may appreciate outdoor performances and view rehearsals. It's also smart to locate these spaces near the performance platform, which you see just off the gym, which is large enough to fit the 80-member band and can support a seating capacity of 595, which are all the students in the school for an assembly. I also mentioned that we have been working with Wrentham's first responders. Fire Chief Marino and Police Chief McGrath have been helping us in this project, ensuring that we have the ability to secure off academic areas after hours when the gym and cafeteria may be used by the Wrentham community. Also looking at upgrading the generator and the glazing so that the gym and cafeteria and common space may be used as a shelter space for the community in the event of a hurricane or power loss. And so that's all baked into this project at this point. Moving up to the second floor, we have two more learning communities. You saw two on the first floor, which I didn't mention. So that brings us to a total of 4, or 1 per grade. We're grades 3 through 6 here. Classrooms are organized in pairs to support a co-teaching model with a shared small group instruction room in between them. These small group instruction rooms serve many purposes, from quick teacher student check-ins to providing specialist support, but still in the classroom environment, not having to pull students out for support, which is really important. The similarity of the 4 learning communities offers flexibility of where the grades are located. In the event of a bubble year, when you have an unusually large number of students in one grade, which happens sometimes, the health room can be used as a general classroom, and the health program can be located in another learning community where space is available. The center of each learning community is an extended learning area, which the superintendent referred to, something that you don't have right now. You see it's this wider corridor that's designed for a variety of uses, including small group work, enrichment, and targeted support aligned to classroom instruction. Extended learning space enables flexible student groupings and resource sharing that is not possible in a single general classroom. Learning collaboratively reinforces personal responsibility and helps students develop discipline. Taking ownership of one's learning builds a sense of belonging. And you can see this rendering in the upper left is something of what that corridor space could look like. Still a little preliminary, but gives you a sense. This preliminary rendering is intended to show a building character that incorporates traditional elements from Wrentham's rural vernacular, such as the gable roof, and composes them with modern elements, such as glazing where transparency is needed, to create a welcoming, familiar, and attractive experience for Wrentham. We were really impressed by the recent increase in adolescent rates of depression, and so it's important in our mind that we encourage Roderick students to make time to play and put down their cell phones or tablets. This is part of the interior design with having extended learning. When it comes to the layout of the playground spaces, we've placed them prominently in the building, right on axis with the main corridor. As you can see here, the play offers opportunities for students to take on physical challenges or simply hang out or enjoy a shady space under a tree. So let's talk a little bit about cost. We're going to build up the cost for you, starting with construction costs, which you see here. Then we'll talk about the total project cost, which comes a little later. And then we'll talk about the actual costs to the town of Wrentham. So let's start with the construction cost. This is a recent update is in the SD column on this slide. And so that's where we are now. The PSR column is what we presented to you last time. I think it was back in maybe July, something like that. It was back in the summer. And you can see, as the other presenters have mentioned, we've come down about 10%, 11% on total construction costs. And so there's three components of line item 4, total construction cost. There's your proposed square footage, which we're going to look at, the cost of the building itself, and then the cost of the site and the demolition and abatement of the Roderick and Vogel wings. So we're going to dive into all three of those just very quickly. First, in terms of building area, we made an effort working with the district to reduce the building area from where we were at the PSR phase. And we were successful. The building area came down 1,000 square feet, which is about 1%. And it doesn't sound like that much. We had actually reduced it further, but we received a response from the MSBA about classroom square footage that initially pushed us up 2,400 square feet. And so we managed to reduce that out. Most of the reductions, frankly, came from corridor space. We did work with the district to look at streamlining the program, and that also happened. But we didn't reduce any program as part of this effort. And you also see that the toilets yielded a little bit of reduction. This slide gets into how the building cost came down, and it was pretty much a 10% reduction across all the scope items in the building. You see we had identified 6 of the most significant reduction items, and then we tallied up the balance of the building work as 4 million. For example, in exterior walls, we went with a masonry facade, which is a good durable facade that's going to last you a long time. But it was less expensive than the placeholder materials that we had at the PSR phase. And we think it's a good decision. And that was kind of the general theme for this, is that we were looking to make smart decisions, choose materials that were trusted and that have good longevity and low maintenance, that would be appropriate for your school, but would also save money. So that's generally what caused these cost reductions in this category. I will also say that I think the estimators were looking at the market a little bit more closely. As we move to an SD level of documentation, they have a lot more information to pull from. We now have all the partitions laid out, whereas before it was more of a sketch they were coming from. And so the combination of a favorable market and the additional information also helped us in dialing in this number to what it really needs to be. Site scope, if you noticed on the first slide, really didn't come down that much. And we could look at this and say, well, why didn't it come down that much? Everything else was coming down. And in fact, if you take these top 5 items out of the site work, it would have come down. The balance was 1.4 million, would have come down about that 10% that we saw everywhere else. So what are these top 5 items? Why didn't it come down? The biggest one is item number 5. It's the signal at South Randall. And this goes into that decision as to whether this project should include the signal at South and Randall. Obviously, this project does increase the traffic on that intersection a little bit by moving the third grade from Delaney, which is currently accessed from Taunton, to Roderick, which will be accessed through Randall Road and will run through that intersection. But it's an intersection that we know is already got a pretty significant delay to it, and it serves a number of different town functions as well as a shopping center, and so it just may make sense. But that's something that we're interested in getting feedback from you. That's $1 million in this category. The other items are smaller. We took a harder look at what was required for temporary parking, temporary playgrounds. We had a grading plan. We could understand the earthwork. Some of these costs are just necessary and as part of developing a project. We can continue to work on the temporary conditions and see if we can save some of that money back as we move forward into the project. Jeff, were you going to jump in here?
Got a couple of quick slides at the end. So this is a table off the MSBA's website. It tracks all school projects throughout the state since 2009 forward. You see the trend data, the median line there in orange is kind of where the data has been in terms of the bid results. Most recently, we've seen that as high as $1,000 a square foot, which is, an astronomical number to a lot of people. At the time of the PSR, when we last met in front of this group, we were at $930 a square foot in terms of a placeholder. As Jesse has alluded to, we've come down over 10%. We're now at $840. The roadway makes up about $10 or $11 of that square foot as well. So, the building itself is even lower. And so we're trending below the majority of the market right now. And so that's a good place to be overall. Next slide. So what does this mean to the town? And what are the dollars? So Jesse's walked you through the reductions in the building, which is over 1,000 square feet. We've knocked down the site and changes there. Ultimately, the hard cost of the building, which is the construction dollars, has come down about $10,100,000. And then on top of that, we have total soft costs. And so that's come down $13.3 million since we last had the project in front of you back in July of this past year. The MSBA's reimbursement has gone up significantly. A couple of great things happened there in order to make that happen. First and foremost, with all the reductions that the committee has done to date, that pushes the cost of the project down. And essentially, the town pays everything over the caps. So for all the dollars you've wrung out, that's all money that goes directly back to the town and not money you need to borrow, not a loss in reimbursement from the MSBA. The other critical thing that happened is in August of last year, the MSBA voted to increase their reimbursement rate, which is great news that this is one of the very first projects that can take advantage of that. It was only projects that submitted from January on. So we're going to be one of the first projects into the gate with the new metrics, which adds a couple of more percent back to the town and improves that overall. Right now, we're trending between 38 to 41% in terms of reimbursement from the state, which is essentially leaving the town share at $64 to $67 million. That's a conservative number. Right now, until we submit the final totality to the MSBA, we have to assume they may deem certain areas of the building ineligible. That includes special education spaces, some general ed classroom spaces, based on the comments that they gave us back at the last submission. I believe those spaces will be eligible, especially the special education spaces, which makes up a large percentage of that, which would mean that the reimbursement from the state will go up a couple $1 million. But until we have that feedback back from the state, I need to show you a kind of conservative range because we can't control what the final number is that the town decides, nor the final number that the MSBA decides. So we're in that kind of range of 38 to 41. It could go as high as 42.4. Ultimately, depending on what happens with the roadway and some of the other elements there, the overall project cost. The important two asterisks to note is that town contribution does not take into account the reimbursement from the Mass Save program. So Massachusetts, through the utility companies, has a robust program where they pay you for an all-electric building with geothermal. And that is approaching $925,000 that's going to be brought back to the project as a rebate once you open the building. In addition to that, the Federal Inflation Reduction Act program exists. Under the previous administration, that was for solar and geothermal. The current federal administration updated it in March of this past year and they removed the solar, but the geothermal stayed. So as of today, those rebates still exist, and the project could potentially get another $4 million back from federal grants through that IRA rebate once the project is opened as well. So that's significant because there's an additional $5 million in addition to the MSBA's contribution that would bring back the total that would bring down the total tax impact to residents in the town of Wrentham. Lastly, I'll just hit schedule and then we'll open it up for questions. Schedule overall, we're headed towards a submission with this final project dollars in this month. That'll go in front of the MSBA's board in April. They will tell you the final amount that they will reimburse. That'll come back in front of the voters in the town of Wrentham for both a ballot and a town meeting in the month of June. From there, we'll then, with an appropriate approval, we'll get the design up and running. It'll take us about 13 months with permitting and design and break ground in fall of 27 with about a 2-year construction duration, opening the building in the fall of 2029, and then demoing the existing Roderick and wrapping up the site work by the end of the calendar year of 2029. So I know that's a lot of information. Happy to do a deeper dive. I'll turn it back to the chair to manage the questions.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, if I could just add one last thing, which is that the committee did decide to go with a design bid build approach as opposed to construction manager at risk. The reason that we did that is for new construction, it is better and more competitive pricing. The numbers that go in front of you are also quite conservative in terms of where those bids will come out. And so the consulting team is not able to tell us that it is going to be less than what the estimators are coming in at. But recent experience suggests that we are in a very competitive bid market and that the bids are coming in significantly below these numbers. So, and most of those savings would accrue back to the town. So I think what you're seeing in terms of these numbers today are what we can, what we can reasonably put in front of you. There's additional areas that we are looking at for trimming still over the next 2 weeks. As Jeff mentioned, we are hopeful that the reimbursement rates will go up. We have not included in these costs of the town the rebates for energy, nor have we included some potential and potentially quite significant savings during the bid process if the market continues to be as favorable as it has been over the last few months.
Yeah, excellent point. Thanks for bringing that up, Phil. I really appreciate that. Yeah, to the tune of millions of dollars. So recent bids is this fall and this summer were tens of millions of dollars on similar sized projects in the neighboring towns, and so there's a lot of ability for that to come down, but you can't control the market. Tariffs are up and down, and so the numbers that are be brought to town meeting will be a not to exceed budget. And so you have to build in contingencies. We have contingencies within the number for change orders for unforeseen conditions and things like that. And that's another conversation we're having with the building committee about what is the right amount of contingency to bring safely to the project.
Okay. Can you stop sharing your screen too so we can see everybody? Thank you. So I think we should do is, Mr. Chair, Mr. Jordan, is it my understanding that obviously you wanted to give us an update on the project as you and your team very eloquently did, and then you're looking for some feedback, I guess, from us just based on this presentation. You're looking for feedback, if I'm not mistaken, both on kind of the design, the budget, as well as this conversation about Randall Road. Mm-hmm. Is that a fair assessment of what the goals are for this evening?
Yes. So in terms of specific feedback on the Randall Road signal, I think that's a pretty important one to understand how important of a thing this is for the town, to make sure we are clear as a committee on what we should be doing going forward. And then any reactions or concerns or anything that you want to raise so that we have a few weeks before we make our vote and come back to you.
All right. I think we should maybe take them as two separate topics, if that's okay with the board, just because there's a lot there. And if you want to start with the Randall Road conversation, we could definitely start with some feedback. I can ask the board members their opinion. So it's a little difficult for me, right, about this topic, because I really didn't, before this afternoon or this evening, I wasn't really expecting you to be asking us about the Randall Road piece. And to be quite honest with you, I personally don't feel like I'm educated enough on all the factors that, kind of got you to this point. Like I know there's, and when I get to my feedback about the actual building, cost, finishes, all that stuff, I'm hearing kind of mixed results from the resident taxpayers that I talk to. Some people are saying looks great. Our kids, need this. Our teachers need this. And then other people are saying, this thing looks like it belongs in Wellesley or Newton, and it's like nothing like we've ever built. Doesn't look like any of our buildings that we have here in Wrentham. So similarly to the roads, this is the first time I'm really being asked to opine about the roads. Here's what I can tell you, right? My suggestion would be, and again, open to the board, I'm only one vote here and only one opinion, but I need you guys as a school committee to make a compelling argument why we need to look at this Randall Road situation, because I could tell you some of the feedback I heard was Randall Road's already a mess. People are already used to Taunton Street, the way it flows. Adding more volume onto Randall Road, whether we put a light there or not, unless we get into widening the streets over there, which is a much larger project with, I'm sure, a much bigger cost. They don't know, some people have said, I don't know how much it's actually going to help out. So my advice to you, like I don't know if you know this, but I'm on the DPW building committee. I'm sure you, maybe aware of that. And, we faced a lot of similar situations that we had to, as a committee, come together, make some tough decisions on, and then bring our recommendations to the townspeople and say, here's why we think we're doing this. Here's why we need you to support this. For me personally, I would like to see you guys take a little bit more of that approach with the Randall Road question, because I just feel like me giving you my opinion off the cusp right now, I don't think I'm doing you or the taxpayers any justice without seeing, like, I haven't seen any traffic data. I haven't seen any, I haven't been involved in the planning process. I haven't been involved in the building placement process. I haven't been involved in the process where the school committee, decided to move a grade from one building to the next, right? So there's a lot of stuff that happened to get us to this point that I wasn't involved in, and no one on this board was. So for me, I think it would be very helpful, and I want to give you my input. I just don't want to speak like an uneducated person, Mr. Chair, if that makes sense.
It
So
does.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, that's my initial feedback. I'm going to open it up to the board members, but go ahead and respond if you want to respond to my initial feedback.
Yeah, I actually, well, I was going to actually ask Mike King to talk about sort of some of the town priorities, and this was sort of raised as an issue because it is something that we knew we could include in the project, but has been identified, I think, for more than 20 years as something that was needed at this intersection, according to prior traffic studies done by the town. So we would be actually making it slightly worse. But this is really something, the reason why we're talking with this board about this is that this is something that we feel as though we could do more cost competitively now as part of this project and include it as part of this project, but only if this is a priority for the town, because for the 2 times a day that we need it for the school, that's probably, I mean, it will make the situation worse and people will probably complain, but this is an issue that was sort of brought to us separately. So I don't know, Mike, if you want to sort of jump in on that, or Mr. Chair, if you would rather have the rest of your committee weigh in first.
No, we could definitely have Mike King jump in on, but before he does, Mike King, I would ask you, in the realm of this project, if this project wasn't happening right now, would this be a priority for the townspeople? Because it's my understanding that, obviously there's going to be an additional cost here, right? That's going to loop in to this project cost that the voters are going to have to approve. And we're not proposing doing this as a separate project. We're proposing doing this as part of the school building project. So Mike, I have no issue if you want to comment before I open it up to the rest of the board members on kind of like where this project falls, and if we would even be talking about this if we weren't talking about building a new school.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, to your point, I don't believe we would be talking about this outside of this conversation. This came up due to the proposed building, the impacts it will have on a situation that has been identified as a problem since the 2000s. Back in 2008, the Norfolk County engineer identified that that intersection in particular warranted a traffic signal. In terms of cost, you can see that's $1 million. It's not specifically on our capital plan, just due to the size of the investment that would take to move that project along. We've had conversations in the past with the state, just hasn't been able to get it to be prioritized, although we continue to look towards grants to possibly help bridge that gap. Even if, funding was to be secured for this as part of the project, because it can be bundled for this Roderick School Building project. So if town meeting votes for the project and the traffic light is part of that project, it will be a singular vote. The town will continue to pursue grants to help offset that. We did look at traffic studies. That intersection in particular was rated an F. Was it identified as being a concern? And department heads have, reviewed it and opined that, if there was a willingness in terms of financial funding, that they would like to see it addressed, particularly around public safety, our DPW and town planning.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move along to the other board members, and we're going to go backwards this time. Selectman Lamoth. And again, just to reiterate, we're talking about the Randall Road street light first. We'll go through the board and then we'll get back into the conversation about everyone's feelings about the cost, the design, and the look of the building. So go ahead, Selectman Lamoth. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking at the traffic pattern where, the people will drive down that road and drop kids off. I was just wondering if there was some way, because I was in Delaney again today. I hate the way they go in and out of Delaney. Is there some way you could loop down on the other side of Delaney and get back out onto Taunton? And that just a cheap road as opposed to the lights on South Street? Is anybody
That alternative wouldn't not net a less expensive solution, in my opinion, because you'd be crossing wetlands, you'd have bridges, and you'd have lot line issues at the other end of Delaney. You're really pinched at that end of the building.
Yeah, you
So
are.
I fully believe that would be a more expensive option.
But it would relieve all the traffic on South Street.
It would be an alternative method that would allow, the cars to siphon off. You could exit the cars back out the existing driveway as it exists today by Vogel, without going around the other end. So, there is a connection to Taunton right now. We're proposing the buses use that exit. You can merge the parent traffic back up with that. Good practice design for schools is to separate the parent pickup and drop off because you can't pass buses. Parents can't pass buses when the buses are loading, right? So you have that staging issue. So we tend to separate the buses from the parents.
Yeah, that's why I was just trying to be creative. No, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Are you all set at this time, Selectman Lamoth?
I am. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the thoughts. Again, this is a working brainstorming session. No bad ideas. So don't be afraid to give your opinion. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I might be able to, give a little bit of context to this. I mean, I've been in town a long time, and I got to tell you, like Randall Road, there are times where it's just a disaster. I mean, when there have been times I've been in traffic trying to get out, probably for 12, 15, 20 minutes. So I do think something needs to be done with Randall Road. Back when they built the public safety building, I know at the time they were trying to get a light at Randall Road. And for whatever reason, the state DOT would not approve it. So my question is, has anyone even approached the state on this?
Good question, Selectman Anderson. Someone from TSKP or Vertex want to take that?
I'd be happy to start. Maybe you want to finish, Jeff, if you feel the need. Um, we have not approached the state, but we have worked with our traffic consultant, and our understanding of what happened previously. And you can correct me if I have an incorrect understanding of the history. Was that the town was looking for DOT to participate in the funding through a grant. Um, and while that is a possible option here, we don't think that this intersection meets the required warrant for that particular DOT grant. And so we've not recommended that be considered this time around. And that's why the cost of the construction is falling on the town as part of this project. So I think we feel pretty confident that the DOT would support the signal if it was a project that was funded by the town for the town, and would work with us on permitting the signal.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I can maybe just ask Jesse another question. So
Please,
Jesse,
please.
did you have any idea at all if the town was going to absorb this into the building costs? Is this something we could do just with the approval from Mass DOT, or do we still have to wait for the Mass DOT to do the engineering, sign off on it? And the only reason I ask is that, in all my experience working with Mass DOT, they do not move quickly.
They don't. No.
Right. And I'm just curious whether or not their timeline would fit with your timeline as far as getting the building up.
Well, you're right on it. In the case that we do the design and we fund the signal, the time frame is better than if it was a Mass DOT funded signal. So those kind of the two scenarios I was describing before, and we're looking at the one where we're doing the design and the construction, and they're just permitting. Still, we're looking at a 2-year period to get that permit. But we do think that fits within the timeline of this project because we have it's 3 years from now until I believe that's correct, 3 or more, until we're actually opening the school. So we do have the time there. Yeah.
So we can break the roadway project out as a separate bid package. Naturally there's road contractors and there's building contractors, so we would recommend that most likely either way. And so we would bid the building project first, and then as the permitting follows its own path with Mass DOT, once those permits are secured, then bid that as a separate project and manage the construction of them in parallel so that they are both open at the same time.
Okay, so if we wrap it into the school costs, is that reimbursable through the state?
The state would not reimburse it. What they've said so far is that they won't object to it. They object to things that are bundling, but this actually serves the need of the school. It's the driveway that's dedicated to the school. So from all intents and purposes, we understand they'll allow it as an allowable cost, but not a reimbursement cost.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. No more questions, Mr. Chair.
Good questions. And I have a follow-up just to jump on to Selectman Anderson's question. Has anyone also, either through the state or through just us, investigated? I was told, and I forget who told me this, that in order to really fix that intersection, putting a light there isn't, it probably would help, but the real way to fix that intersection would be to make like turn lanes on each side. And then you're potentially talking into taking land. There's mobile, there's another gray house right there. There's 2 houses across the street. Has anyone looked into, if just a light is enough, or if you're going to do this project, is the correct way to do this project to, get the land and then do turning lanes as well?
Yeah, I'd like to start, or you can, Jeff, if you want to.
So we've looked at 2 schemes, Mr. Chair. So one scheme has a left turn in, heading southbound on 1A, because there's no opposite street beyond Randall, so you don't need 2 sets of turning lanes. So one of the schemes, which is the one that's priced, has the left turn lane in. We've presented that to the town. Department heads, there have been comments in favor of both options, right? So we haven't come to a conclusion about what is the preferred option, but right now we've carried the more expensive of the 2, which is to have a left turn lane. Right now, we believe that there's enough room within the right of way to make that pocket lane for a left turn, but we still need to do survey out there if the project was to move forward as a sub project.
Okay, so you actually have captured that potential cost into
The
your.
left turn lane. Right now, we're not widening. There's not a turn lane in Randall Road. That would have been a benefit, but we don't believe there's enough capacity to have right of way on Randall Road to have a left turn, right turn exiting Randall Road. But right now, there's a left turn
Oh,
entering
okay.
Randall Road from 1A.
And has there been any studies done to determine if that would be warranted? Like, for example, I see what you're saying. You could turn into you're budgeting for a left turn lane into Randall Road, but if I'm on Randall Road going towards South Street downtown or towards West Wrentham, there's no 2 lanes exiting Randall Road. And
That's
has
correct.
there? Okay, and and I don't mind who answers this. Has anyone, what does a traffic study show? Would that be warranted or is it not needed?
I guess that's where I get to jump in. Yeah, so we will be studying that intersection further as part of our scope of this project. At this point, we see the need, we see the delay at the intersection, but we haven't surveyed the intersection to understand whether there's space in Randall Road for that turn lane. If there was, it would be logical to us that that would be a great benefit, and maybe that's where the cost of this turn lane work actually goes. But we've carried some cost for an additional turn lane in our estimate at this point. And then as the study develops, we'll understand how to best use that money to improve the intersection, if that makes sense.
It
I
does.
think
Thank you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think it's important to note also that we have not paid for a traffic study to be done there fully because we have not gotten that far yet. So the first sort of order of operations is to figure out, do we want to try to solve this problem as part of this project? Or is this going to be a separate kind of thing we think about later or not at all? And if it is something we want to try to solve for this project, we can carry costs in our proposed budget that we are not obligated to spend,
Yeah.
right? So this is about the amount of the ask, it's not the amount of the actual expenditure. So that's, we would certainly do that study if we decided to move forward with the solution.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, so you really don't even know what the true impact of having that extra grade brought into the new school is going to affect on traffic. For example, like, I don't know if any of you have ever been to a baseball game down at the end of Randall Road and then have 2 games get out at the same time. You can't get out of Randall Road. You can't. So that, with that being said, how many parents are going to be dropping kids off, going through that loop and trying to get out? I mean, even right now, on Taunton Street is a nightmare in the morning, trying to take a left up Taunton Street to get back to the center of town. And you're going to be moving only 1 grade. So now you're going to have 2 major roads that are going to be nightmares that pick up and drop off of school. I mean, personally, Phil, I think you better come up with a better solution for traffic management than spending $1 million on a red light that's going to screw up the center of town royally. Don't forget, now you're going to be talking about doing an additional development down behind South Street in the back and adding in. I mean, the traffic management program needs to be looked at thoroughly rather than just putting up a red light and saying this is going to alleviate the problems. I mean, to me, it's you're adding a nightmare to the center of town without any really thought, asking for $1 million to put a red light up. That's just my opinion.
Can you help me is the concern that having the light there is going to cause traffic delays on South Street, making the problem worse, or that, because I can answer the first part about the traffic flow. So there will be an impact, and Jesse can talk more about sort of some of the estimates around the impact. It is I don't want to say minimal. I mean, minimal is a judgment term, and we have some more precise numbers on it. But while it's true that we're moving, the grade level over, families that have students in both buildings drop off both students at Delaney. So generally speaking, a lot of our pickup and drop off occurs, more than 50% of that pickup and drop off occurs at the Delaney school. So there will be some additional pickup and drop off. And your point about the ball fields is exactly sort of where we are in this question, which is that the traffic studies that have been done previously suggested that area needed a signal. And so the idea here was, if this traffic pattern is an issue already, we're making it a little bit worse, probably at those 2 times a day. But it's still going to be a nightmare getting out for 2 ball games, getting out at the same time. And there still were traffic studies done 15 to 20 years ago that showed that a signal was required. I can't tell you that I know why that was, I understand the engineering of why a traffic signal was deemed to be required. We certainly don't want to make the situation worse. I don't think that moving the 3rd grade over is going to make it substantially worse. I mean, it will certainly, those 2 times a day, there will be more cars. Those are cars that would be at Taunton now. So hopefully we'll be alleviating some of that traffic mess at Taunton, where there is, I think, a much bigger problem actually than having gone to both. But again, Jesse, do you have any hard data on the traffic flow?
So we do have traffic studies looking at the existing condition and the delay at the South Randall intersection as one departs from the Roderick School and turns onto South Street, which, as we mentioned, that's an F condition already. F is the lowest possible grade, so it remains an F in the proposed condition, but we can measure the delay that's experienced in the afternoon at the school departure time at like 3 o'clock. So before, your current delay in our simulation is 223 seconds at the intersection as you're departing from the Roderick School and trying to turn on Randall Road onto South Street. And that increases to 358 seconds with the addition of the 3rd grade and the proposed school population. It's also worth noting that the existing school population and the sort of design enrollment for the school are different. So it's more than just the 3rd grade that's increasing Roderick, because the new Roderick is designed for a larger population than the existing school happens to have at it right now. But that's where we're saying it's a minimal change, because it's a letter grade F in either condition, and the delay is increasing from 223 to 358 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds to me like we need a lot of traffic study.
Yeah, that's I completely understand your concern, Selectman Harrington, and I don't disagree with you. Again, I don't think this is an easy conversation that we can give you our feedback and support on one quick. I mean, I'm going to let the board, obviously chime in. I'm one member, but for me, it's difficult. Phil, I'm sure you've been at both, but I don't know. I'm not going to argue with you. I have a hard time believing that Taunton Street is worse than Randall Road from a current traffic perspective, as I've been at both. You have the library, the ball fields, you have dance, you have the whole King Philip Plaza there, where people are, and not to mention, has anyone talked to public safety about the concern that people are going to use the public safety access road as a cut through behind Town Hall and try to go out that way? If we dump this, if we add to the level of existing traffic there already. Now, I know it's illegal and you're not supposed to do that, but I wonder if there's a concern that could affect our emergency response guys. If me and all my soccer dads are parked along that road with our kids there. Just again, maybe a stupid question, but one that should be asked.
No, I think so. We have engaged with public safety quite extensively on the topic, and we've gotten their feedback. They didn't raise that specific question, but we can certainly raise it with them. I think you raise an important point, though, Chris, and why this is hard, and why we feel as though this is while we understand that we will ultimately make the decision on including it to bring to you for an endorsement in 2 weeks, why we're having this discussion now is the dance, the ball fields, the library, none of those things are under my purview or the purview of my committee. And the whole reason we're having this conversation is that at pickup and drop off, Taunton is a nightmare. Roderick's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. I mean, Jesse gives it an F, but I don't know what you give Taunton Street. All those other things that Randall Road is being used for, the plaza, the post office, the ball fields, the library, has created a situation that we can decide this is a good way for us to move forward on, or we can like this is not a huge priority of the building committee. That's my understanding, right? Like we are trying to make sure that if this is something that the town wants to try to solve a problem and would like to be able to include this in the project, since we are impacting that roadway and we can get it approved as part of this project, that if we want to solve problems for the dance studio and the ball fields and everyone else as well, then this could be a good time to do it because we're going to have construction trucks and asphalt. We have a funding mechanism. We have all kinds of ways of doing it. And we can explore all of it and we could get to the end of a traffic study and say, you know what, we don't want to do it. It doesn't make sense. We shouldn't spend the money. But the impact of moving the third grade and a slightly larger school is quite minimal in terms of that intersection's overall problem. So we're not like coming to you hoping that you're going to, either get us off the hook on a decision or like tell us, yes, we really want you to do something, or no, we really don't want you to do something. We're just trying to figure out, like, is this something that is a priority for the town where we should carry some funding in here, do some additional traffic studies and see if we want to try to solve this as part of this? Or do we want to say, you know what, the real problems that exist here are from non-school uses, and so we shouldn't include it in this project at all? And we know that you don't have a direct answer on that. We're not asking you to give us one today either. This is exactly what we were hoping for, getting good feedback and good questions from everybody and wondering if, we can lop this off and it makes my job a lot easier to sell it to the town. I think people are going to be screaming at us in 3 years when the school opens and they're backed up in traffic, but that's.
And then you could say it's Selectman Gallo's fault.
No, I would never do that to you, Mr. Chairman. I would never do that to you.
I'm joking with you. So Phil, like you said, difficult conversation. However, right, we face many difficult conversations, right? We have many infrastructure issues in the town. We have a pavement production plan that we're like $10 million behind on, and we have minimal Chapter 90 funding that's given to us each year in order to do that. So I think what Mike King said earlier in the meeting still resonates very loudly with me. Although this is an issue and no one's debating that fact, if you weren't coming to us talking about a school, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So that's my position as of right now. And I do want to ask one of your fellow building committee members and my vice chair, Selectwoman Rouse, her opinion on this matter as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I guess this would be Phil or Alan. The current officer that you have managing departures on Taunton Street, is that going to continue with the new school? And is that something that you would think of at the end of Randall Road?
Sure. I'm happy. Is that okay if I answer this, Phil? Yeah. So, so we have SRO Todd Schwalbe, who does an outstanding job for us. He manages traffic at Taunton outside of the Annex and Delaney entrance, because that's where the traffic is really problematic. He was actually instrumental in recommending the reverse design of the parking lot because of the traffic backup into the town center at arrival dismissal. And what Phil was saying before is accurate, that right now the bulk of our students who leave are picked up at Delaney. So he's stationed there for that. Randall's a much quicker pickup because there's fewer students there right now. If we move third grade over, we anticipate, even if there's regardless of the traffic light, we think that it will be a net benefit to the town for traffic flow because it'll be more evenly distributed. We won't have everybody at Delaney. the majority of children who are picked up are in the younger grades, K1, 2. Fewer students are picked up when they get into the upper grades. So we already have fewer students at Roderick being picked up. Moving third grade over, we're hoping will reduce some of the flow at Delaney and allow a more even distribution and a quicker traffic dispersal. We're not adding any cars to downtown, so we don't anticipate there being any kind of additional traffic flow out in the town center. However, every school where every school's got traffic backups at arrival and dismissal. So we're going to continue to have that. But what we're hoping through this is that we'll be able to make it safer and more efficient just by distributing the students differently. To get your question about Officer Schwalbe, he'll still be there. And I imagine we will deploy him wherever the need is the most significant. And we're anticipating that based on what our current beliefs are, we think he'll continue to be at Delaney and Roderick will still be able to manage on their own. But if that's not the case, then we'll redeploy him to Roderick.
Here's my, I have a couple follow-up questions. So are Roderick students going to be able to walk over to Delaney and get picked up with their younger siblings and depart that way? Or do they have to each get picked up at their own school?
That's a great question. And that's really unknown at this point. We're hoping that they'll be able to, well, I guess if they've got younger siblings, we'll probably continue to maintain those students coming over to Delaney and being picked up together. It depends on how the flow works. It might be advantageous to have them at Roderick and leave there. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it happens with the single students who are pickups in third grade and moving them to Roderick to kind of see how things go. I anticipate we'll continue our current practice. If the new building happens, we'll continue our current practice and then adjust based on what we see.
Here's my concern, or I guess my struggle with this. If I'm sitting at that light, I'm going to want, and I've paid for this, right? That's been added into this because obviously it's our responsibility, certainly on the building committee and also as a select board member for, taxpayers' dollars. I want that light to be efficient. I don't want a light there that's going to keep things status quo, but we just have a light to say that we have a light. Secondly, I'm also thinking about the rec fields. They're going to be asking for additional funds too. And, residents are going to see the school money. If we're going to probably put this in, I'm going to say in the next 2 weeks, let's sharpen our pencils even more and get rid of some other fluff that could be at the school that could absorb this if we're going to put in an efficient light. It's kind of just my thoughts on this. So that's it for me, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I think those are very fair comments. And that might be a good segue if the board's open to it, as well as the building committee chair and your team. Should we move to just some general feedback on the design and cost and whatnot? And I'll take I have no issue starting off and then open it up to the board. So, this is a topic that I've been hearing a lot of feedback from a lot of constituents. I have some constituents that are in full support of the project. They think it looks incredible. The kids deserve it. The teachers deserve it. The town deserves it. And it's going to, be an incredible opportunity for our kids. But then conversely, I have other people that share very different concerns. As I've mentioned before, I had at least a couple of people say to me, this doesn't look like a school. It looks like a hotel. This looks like it belongs in some museum, in Wellesley or Newton. It doesn't fit with the other buildings that we have, nor the other projects that we have. And some of the people were kind of questioning needs versus wants, right? So I understand that learning's changing, needs change. There's an increase in special ed. I get all that, but I also get that enrollment's down. I don't care what anyone says. I get the reports myself. I see class sizes going down. I see student enrollment in public schools going down. And this isn't me. This is what I'm hearing from other constituents in the community. But I can tell you that I do see similar reports of maybe not in Wrentham, but other communities, class sizes and student enrollment going down. There's a lot more people homeschooling their kids, going to private schools. Christian-based learning centers are popping up all over the state. So people are concerned that they look at this building, they see terraces and shared space for every class. They see high-end finishes. They're concerned that this is like a trophy and not a functional school. Meaning, as down and dirty as we can get it, right? So, and there's needs versus wants. There's a balance of, we got to give these kids an awesome education. We got to give the staff a great place to work, but we also have to watch the taxpayers' budget as well, right? Because there's a lot of other needs in town. I just told you we're $10 million behind in our pavement production plan. There's infrastructure needs that are needed, wells, ball fields now that are being displaced because of this project that is not covered in these funds. So I just challenge and I mean this as a healthy challenge. I challenge the amazing job that you guys have already done in your committee. I challenge you to make sure that you can look the 11,000 voters in the eye when you bring this to town meeting and tell them that you've looked at every single square foot of this building and there's no thrills. This is what we need versus what we want. And that's the feedback that I've been getting from my constituents. And I'll kind of leave it there and let the other board members chime in to what they've been hearing. But I do want to say, I know this team's been busting their butts. We've been busting our butt on the DPW building committee. I know this isn't easy. And I think you're doing a great job. But we faced all the same questions too before we got our project approved. And we had a lot. I mean, listen, we had to say no a lot to Brian and his DPW staff. And sometimes it was contentious. But we got him a building that's going to be functional. And I want to get you guys a building that is going to work for you and the teachers and the staff. So I'm sorry for the long-winded response. I'll open it up backwards again, starting with Selectman Lamothe.
I have no questions. I've seen this a couple times now. I'm in favor of it. I think these guys have done some yeoman's work. And to your point, if they can stand in front of our constituents and appease them that they've done that good work and this is what we need, I'm sure Dr. Cameron will be able to do that.
No pressure. Thank you, Selectman Lamothe. Selectman Harrington.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said with regards to the building. There's obviously a need for it. I just don't know if, like you said, it's the actual building for our community. It looks like there's a lot of frill. It looks like to me, there's a lot of wasted space, open space, up to the wide open ceilings. I'm not a big fan of a flat roof. Being in New England, we're facing problems now with the King Philip Regional High School with their flat roof that's failing after 23 or 24 years, and now they're talking how many millions of dollars to replace it. I'm not, I know they've done a lot of great work to it, but I'm not sure the design really is with a flat roof and a lot of the frill in there with the open spaces is really necessary. I just think it's going to be a tough sell, especially adding in, $1 million for traffic, red light, which may or may not even alleviate the problem. I think it's going to be a tough sell.
Thank you, Selectman Harrington. Selectman Anderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I obviously I said my piece earlier, but I do think the school project is something that needs to be done. We're not going to solve all the solutions tonight, but I do think that the project's going to have to go forward at some point.
Okay. Anything else, Jim?
That's it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Appreciate that. And we'll end with Selectwoman Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate hearing my fellow select board's comments, suggestions, questions. On the building committee in the summer when this was presented, we knew that we had to make cuts. We made those cuts diligently. However, I think that it is still our responsibility in the next couple of weeks to continue to take a strong look at this, balance the burden that the DPW building is going to be this new school building on our taxpayers, and balancing that with the quality education that our students get now with a building that will provide that. So I think in the next 2 weeks as a committee, we really still need to sharpen our pencils and see where else we can trim back some of the quote unquote fat that may be there.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a comment?
Of course you can. Well, as long as Selectwoman Rouse is done.
Go ahead, Roy.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Roy.
I had the good fortune of picking up my grandchildren this past week and got in line behind Roderick, right by the library, to pick her up and go up Randall Road thereafter. I had no problem whatsoever, both times. I was a bit amazed by it, but it flowed quite well. And so I don't know that this light is necessary at this time.
Okay, thank you for your input and feedback. Mr. King, do you want to address the board or make any comments that you might have? And then we'll give an opportunity for Phil, Alan, or the design team to rebuff, and then we'll move on. Mike King?
I'll just add that as a fellow member of the school building committee, I look forward to working with Vice Chair Rouse and Phil Jordan as chair of the school building committee in the weeks moving forward, to take those hard looks that were just mentioned and to see what areas there could be some more efficiencies in trimming down the costs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Appreciate that, Town Manager Mike King. Phil, Alan, you guys want to address the board, give us any of your feedback on our feedback, or have we given you enough to think about?
This has been incredibly helpful. I want to thank the board for their time. Very helpful feedback. We have, as Vice Chair Rouse mentioned, we have been taking a hard look at everywhere that we can reduce costs. I think part of this is going to be, frankly, focused on demonstrating where we have removed frills, because we spent a lot of time really on that. The vice chair of your committee and our school building committee and Mr. Goddard have both been quite aggressively sharpening pencils, right? This is probably not surprised to hear, but also really focused on durability and maintenance as well. So as part of our work, we looked at other schools where you can put up drywall in a school, and it's a lot cheaper than putting up a more durable finish. But in a year, you're going to have to replace the drywall. So we are looking at long-term costs as well. I think, have some good justifications for that. I'm not sure what the mechanism would be to provide that to you in advance of that meeting in 2 weeks, but we'll work with Mr. King to make sure that you can get that information, and we'll echo Vice Chair Rouse's comments that we will take your feedback to heart, and we will look for additional areas to trim costs and make sure that we don't have any frills in reality or in the design as it's being demonstrated. I don't know, Alan or Jeff, if you have anything you'd like to add?
Just thank you very much. This is very helpful. Really appreciate this is the time to get the tough questions, and I really, really appreciate them. It'll help us to make sure that we zero in on a design that I think will benefit the town for generations. So thank you very much for that.
No, well said, Dr. Cameron. And again, it's our job, right? We're happy to do it because it's our job. We answer to the voters just like you guys do, and we have a fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers, as well as a responsibility to our kids and our staff to make sure that we're giving them a great product so that everyone can thrive and be successful. Our job is to help you find the medium, right? The kind of that perfect middle, and happy to do it. But like I said before, this board understands how hard your board's working. We appreciate all the hard work that you all have done. So on this and other projects, I know it's been a busy year. So thank you guys very much. And if that's nothing else, we're going to move on to the next part of our meeting. Talk to you soon. And thanks again for coming on and giving us this great update. Okay, with that being said, let's go to public comment. Now is the time in the meeting for public comment. Residents who wish to participate in public comment will be allotted 2 minutes to speak and must state their name and address for the record. If you can, come on. If anyone wants to, I would love to see your face. At the start of the comment, a timer will be sent via message from Amanda Vazapolo. It should be visible at the top of the screen, and an alarm will chime when time is up. So at this time, anyone that'd like to make a public comment, please go ahead and do that. I'll give a few seconds here for that, just in case. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Now we're going to move into the town manager's report, which is tab 14. Town manager Mike King.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to start with an FY27 budget update. Departmental budget submittals were due yesterday, February 2nd, and are currently being reviewed. Budget meetings with department heads have been scheduled to take place throughout the month of February. Additionally, I met with the Norfolk and Plainville town administrators, as well as King Philip Superintendent Rich Drolet this afternoon to have a preliminary discussion on the FY27 KP budget. While the numbers have yet to be finalized, it appears that Wrentham will have the lowest increase of the three towns, being driven primarily by changes in student enrollment. I have an update additionally on the new public works facility. A DPW site walkthrough was held earlier this morning with the general contractor, Castagna Construction, the owner's project manager, and town staff to review the limits of work and discuss site conditions. The meeting went well, and site clearing for the DPW facility is expected to begin later this month. January was the end of January was a very busy month for the Department of Public Works. And I have, two updates that I wanted to share in regards to some of their efforts, particularly this winter season. I'll start with on Friday, January 23rd, the Department of Public Works responded to an early morning water main break on West Street at the intersection of Riverside Drive. The repair required a 2-day response due to the extremely cold temperatures and challenging weather conditions. Crews worked through Friday into Saturday to complete the initial repair and restore water service. During follow-up inspections, an additional potential leak was identified nearby and also had to be addressed. The roadway was temporarily reduced to 1 lane following the repair, with permanent repaving scheduled to occur after Winter Storm Fern, which impacted Wrentham the following day. So, the DPW was dealing over a period of 48 hours, the water main break, which then led immediately into Winter Storm Fern on Sunday, which brought approximately 18 inches of snow to Wrentham between Sunday, January 25th and Monday. DPW staff and snowplow contractors worked extended hours to clear the roadways, with cleanup continuing as sidewalk plows remain active throughout the community even today. During the impacted event and due to the significant snowfall, DPW also conducted an overnight snow removal operation in the downtown area on Wednesday, January 28th, which was an effort that had not been undertaken in several years. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank the DPW staff and our contractors for their continued hard work in keeping the roads and sidewalks of the Wrentham community safe. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, well said, Mr. King. I want to just jump on that for a quick second. I too, and I know the board shares the sentiments, and anyone can speak up and do just that. But yeah, it was a massive undertaking between the water main break and that historic storm. The DPW crew, has just been pushed to the limits. I was able to swing down. Mike King bought them all breakfast one morning, breakfast and coffee, and I was able to swing down before work just to say thank you on behalf of my select board members. And I'll tell you, it was really appreciated, really very much appreciated by the staff. And I made it a point to let them know that we drive the roads, we see. And I actually made a comment that, we were getting reports that our roads were actually much better than the surrounding community roads. So they were just so happy to hear that. You could see the look of exhaustion on many of their faces. I just wanted you to know that took place, and it was very well received. And that's just one of the ways Mike King, I believe, has been doing an incredible job as town manager in increasing morale. Mike's took it upon himself to do breakfasts like this. He's now doing at least two staff events a year. One where Roy and I went to when we gave out all the awards. It was a breakfast at the American Legion. We gave out all the awards for years of service. Then he does the other one at Rice Complex. Then there's another one that they do, I believe, at the beach. So Mike, I just want to commend you for really engaging the morale level, the personal level of the people. I think it's just very important in an organization. And I just want to say that you've been doing a great job at that. And it's very well received by the people that I speak to that work for us. So sorry about that. Open it up to the other board members if anyone wants to make any comments or say anything about Town Manager King's report. Go ahead, anybody. Or nobody.
I think you eloquently said it for all of us.
Great as usual. Yes.
With that being said, anything else before I hand the meeting over to Jim Anderson? No? Selectman Anderson, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as usual, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to second it. Motion made by Selectman Anderson, second by me. Any further discussion? Being none, do a roll call vote. Selectwoman Rouse,
Yes.
Anderson,
Anderson's a yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Lamoth,
Yes.
Chris Gallo, yes. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everybody. I know we had a busy meeting, but appreciate everyone's input. Have a great night.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.
Night, everyone.